Jason, you wrote an article, or you published an article, you probably wrote it a while ago, but you published an article recently that describes the cost of trust in certain economies. And assuming that we are right with our hypothesis here, we can eliminate roughly 35% of productive workforce in the United States. So that produces largely trust, right? That fairly high transaction cost. So you laid out maybe some more visions about markets. So what does this really mean in terms of opportunities for economies?
Yeah, so trust is a really important thing to understand here, because trust is what's being automated here. And there's often some confusion that sort of began when we describe, say, consensus mechanism Bitcoin as a trustless technology, as if trust is free, and that's absolutely not true. Rather, what this technology has revealed is just how much we have been paying for trust. And this was what the exercise we did to try and estimate what the cost of trust in an economy or society is. And it's one of these things, it's like that we just don't even, economists don't even bother to measure, because why would you? What's the alternative? So what we went through is, and we used US occupational data. We plan to replicate this on other data sets, but it was we went through every single job classification in the US and then estimated what fraction of each job was devoted to just trust work, which means imagine a world where all statements are true and everyone is trustworthy. What stuff do you not need to do, right? For a start, you don't need to write contracts. You don't need to do auditing. You don't need to do managing, because you can just tell people to do the thing and they'll just do it. So it just turns out that a whole lot of, and if you don't need any of that, you don't need large parts of the legal profession, you don't need organization. It turns out huge amounts of the economy exist just simply because it's not the case that we're all untrustworthy. It's just, it's expensive. We have to do it. This is what a high functioning, well-run economy looks like. Is actually, we put a lot of effort into producing trust, right? So trust is handmade. Lots of the economy are machine-made, but trust is handmade. We make it by trust. So what our estimate was this number that even surprised us when we calculated it. It was around sort of 33%, or 35%, I think it was. But the point is not the exact number, it's the order of magnitude. That's a third of everything we do is not actually productive. It's just what needs to be done in order to enable an economy to function. Right? So will all of that go away? Probably not. But that's what we're going to automate. Right? That's the space we're moving into. And once you've automated trust, it's not just that, okay, and then that's done. It's that, okay, we just automated it. I wonder what we can build on top of that then. So this becomes a sort of platform institutional layer that this is the disruption that we see. Right? It's not that this technology brings is automation of trust, which provides a platform layer for different firms, different people in different parts of the world to come together to coordinate at low cost, at much lower cost. If they can do that, they can do more economic activity. And this was the sort of key insight for us, that blockchain technology, by reducing the cost of trust, by automating trust, has the same impact on an economy, say, as reducing trade barriers, or as increasing the quality of administration, or increasing the quality of management. It improves the efficiency by which economic activity takes place, which means you get more of it. That's where the new wealth is coming from this technology.
And I think what this innovation that Jason's been talking about will enable is for more economic activity, different types of economic activity that don't exist today to take place. I'll give you a couple of examples of that and things that we're interested in at the moment, which are enabled or empowered by distributed systems. One of which is, well, both of them actually are sort of based on this idea that there's a changing relationship between the firm, companies, and the market. And one area is in sort of agent-based systems, which is essentially that any person, company, or thing could have a representative piece of software that transacts on its behalf. So rather than I used to go to a travel agent, I now go to the internet. If I want to go on an international journey, I brief my software agent, which then organises that for me. Well, that's a personal example. Think about that from a logistics or a supply chain point of view. So I think agent-based systems is one area that I think is really, really interesting. And the other one is in the whole area of smart contracts, which essentially is, at the moment, you think about that well, I code something in Ethereum and I pay some gas and something happens. But think about all of those lawyers and all of those accountants, all the jobs that they're doing, essentially are if this, then that statements, which you can automate in code.
Yeah, can I just follow up on that? I think that's absolutely right about where this is going, and we're very excited about what this is going to do for agent bots, and we've been doing quite a bit of work in that space. But the other thing is, it's not the case that suddenly we don't need accountants or lawyers in the same way that or engineers for that matter. It's what shifts is the parts of the job that can be automated will be automated. And what happens then is that everyone else is doing far more design work. So you end up with accountancy really becoming a creative design profession rather than a bookkeeping auditing profession. Same thing with smart contract lawyering becoming a crafting design profession rather than a sort of essentially, it doesn't take a profession and get rid of it. It takes a profession and fractures it into its parts. And interesting, what it leaves behind are the fun parts, the good parts of the work, and automates the bits that are not. So, I think this could quite possibly be the best thing that's ever happened to the legal profession and the accounting profession, because the other sort of thing to think about is at the moment the accounting profession and legal profession mostly do work for humans. But the big thing that we're going to need, that's going to need tracking and auditing and contract writing for is machines. So, but in order for us to do that, we need to dramatically lower the cost of delivering that service. So we'll keep track of a lot more stuff. We'll contract a lot more things. We'll have property rights over a vastly increased amount of objects, and these are where the new professions or the existing professions will evolve into. At the moment, they're relatively small and elite in that sense. So again, the watchword here is sort of structural transformation, not just whole things disappearing and growing.